And welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you how to add and subtract whole numbers with fractions. In our first example, I'm going to subtract 3 over 9 from 1. Now, the issue we have here is that we have two different types of numbers. We have a whole number and we have a fraction. Now, this issue can be fixed by changing the whole number into a fraction, but that fraction needs to have two of the following things. Number one, it needs to have the same denominator as the other fraction. And number two, the fraction we're going to create, the numerator of that fraction divided by the denominator of that fraction, needs to be equal to the whole number that we're changing it from. So it needs to be equal to 1. So how do we do that? Well, the first step is we need to multiply the whole number by the denominator. So 1 multiplied by 9. 1 multiplied by 9 obviously equals 9. And we need to take our answer and place it in the numerator position of the fraction we're creating. So 9 is going to be the numerator of our fraction. So after we've done that, our second step is to write the same denominator as the other fraction as the denominator of our new fraction. So now that we've done that, we've created a fraction from our whole number. And we know that this fraction we've created has the same value of the whole number because remember, fractions are division problems where the numerator is divided by the denominator. And 9 divided by 9 is equal to 1, which is the whole number that we started with. So now we can solve our problem. We're going to subtract our numerators. 9 minus 3 equals 6. And when we have common denominators, we do not subtract or add them. We keep it the same in our final answer. So 9 over 9 minus 3 over 9 equals 6 over 9. And this fraction can be reduced. Both numerator and denominator can be divided by the same number, which is 3. So 6 divided by 3 is 2, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. Now, if reducing fractions is something that you're not yet familiar with, I recommend that you watch my video on reducing fractions where I explain how that's done. Let's try another one. This time, we're going to subtract 3 over 7 from 2. So, remember, our whole number needs to have two things as a fraction. The fraction needs to have the same denominator as the other fraction, and also the numerator of the fraction we're creating divided by the denominator of the fraction we're creating needs to equal the whole number, 2. So our first step is to multiply our whole number by the denominator of the other fraction. 7 multiplied by 2 equals 14. So 14 is going to be the numerator of the fraction we're creating. And our last step is to simply write the same denominator of the other fraction as the denominator of our new fraction. Now you'll notice that our fraction we've created has the same value as the whole number, 2, because 14 divided by 7 is equal to 2. So now we can solve our problem. Let's subtract our numerators. 14 minus 3 equals 11. And remember, we do not add or subtract our denominators when we have common denominators. It stays the same. Now notice we have a certain type of fraction here. That's right, this is an improper fraction. And improper fractions can be converted into mixed fractions by dividing the numerator by the denominator. So 11 divided by 7 equals 1. So 1 is going to be the whole number of our mixed fraction. And our remainder is going to be the numerator, and the denominator is going to be the same as in the improper fraction. Now, if converting improper fractions and mixed fractions is something you're not yet familiar with, I recommend that you watch my video on converting improper fractions and mixed fractions. So 14 over 7 minus 3 over 7 equals 11 over 7, which can be converted to the mixed fraction 1 and 4/7. Let's try one more, but this time I'm going to show you a different method for converting our whole number into a fraction. In this case, we have 6 minus 2 over 3. Now, with this method, I'm going to change the whole number into a fraction by placing it over 1. That's right. Any whole number can be changed into a fraction by placing it over 1. And the reason for that is any number divided by 1 is going to equal whatever that number is. 6 divided by 1 is 6. So you see, we haven't changed the value of the whole number. It's still the same value. But we now have a fraction with different denominators. So if solving fractions with different denominators is something you're not yet familiar with, I recommend you watch my video on adding and subtracting fractions with different denominators. In that video, I explained two different methods for adding and subtracting fractions with different denominators. But I'm going to show you one of those methods now. That method is called the butterfly method. So in this method, we multiply our denominators, and our answer is going to be the denominator of our final answer. We next cross multiply. That means we multiply the denominator of each fraction by the numerator of the other fraction. So 3 times 6 is 18, and 1 times 2 is 2. And last, the operation happening between both fractions is subtraction. So we're going to subtract 18 and 2 to equal 16. So 6 over 1 minus 2 over 3 equals 16 over 3. And again, we have an improper fraction. So let's convert this into a mixed fraction. To do that, we need to first calculate the whole number of our mixed fraction. So how many times can 3 go into 16? Well, 16 divided by 3 is 5. So that's our whole number of our mixed fraction. The numerator of our mixed fraction is going to be the remainder. So that's what's left over after dividing 16 by 3. And our denominator is going to stay the same. So our final answer as a mixed fraction is 5 and 1/3. So these are just a couple ways that you can add or subtract whole numbers with fractions. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.